Korea, the land of K-pop and K-BBQ. But how did such a land come to be? Let us take you back in time. Korea was a land that put great importance upon the legacy of each family.
The most important concern for a family was to produce a male heir.
Yay, boys!
In order to carry on the family line as well as perform ancestral rituals.
The feminist in me is slightly insulted by this, though.
Respect and obedience between family members were extremely important, too. Additionally, there was a connection to one's ancestors, the belief that even after you have passed away, you would remain in spiritual form within the family circle.
This helps you to realize that even after death, you will remain in the hearts of your descendants.
Aww. The majority of all families in Korea's Joseon dynasty were Buddhist until the late 1750s, when Christianity and Protestantism were first introduced. Although the religion and its followers were first rejected by rulers, Korean Christianity ballooned in popularity during and after the Japanese occupation as a way for Koreans to preserve their national identity. The higher ranks in traditional Korean government were based around monarchy and people from the Yongbon who held other high government positions.
I achieved my position by passing several civil service exams centered around Confucian knowledge and through my exceptional lineage. My status just goes to show that grades really do determine the rest of your life.
And that, kids, is why you should stay in school. There were also the Chungin, ranked as the middle class, who served as the links between the Yongbon and the common people.
In fact, I am a de facto ruler of my local region.
The Yongbon and Chungin combined created a bureaucracy in Korea and held an isolationist policy.
I just want to be left alone.
Until the 1880s, after the Treaty of Ganghwa established Korea as an independent state with diplomatic relations with China and Japan, allowing Japan to begin exercising dominance over Korea even before annexation.
Before we started to colonize other countries, nobody thought our power was legit enough.
European powers are stronger than you'll ever be.
But we proved them wrong. We began to conduct our imperialism just like the Westerners, and in doing so, we gathered more diplomatic relations and got a foothold for more expansion. We were also looking for more economic benefits like new trade, more natural resources, employment, and land ownership opportunities for our people.
Japan's takeover wasn't as good as it may seem, though. Their methods of direct control completely restructured Korea's government by creating a military-controlled system in which all of the Korean officials were replaced with governor-generals appointed by the Japanese emperor.
The new Korean government took away many of our freedoms, and all of their actions have been to try and assimilate us instead of allowing us to keep our culture.
This marked the start of Korean resistance. Eventually, all the tension was released during the March 1st movement, in which 33 Korean leaders drafted a proclamation for independence.
On March 1st, 1919, we rallied up over 2 million Koreans and protested in over 1,500 demonstrations in Seoul and Korea. We sent out conspirators to read the proclamation around the country in order to gain support.
I put a stop to this immediately. I wasn't going to let the Chosen take back their own land.
Over 7,000 Koreans died and 16,000 others were wounded by the Japanese police. The Japanese destroyed almost 1,000 buildings, including our churches, schools, and homes.
Luckily, we were able to stop the rebels within a few months.
Although the protest did not reach its initial goal, it unified Koreans and strengthened nationalism. It remained the largest rally against foreign power in Korea and gained worldwide attention. So, with the Japanese still in power, their presence began to influence the daily life in Korea. Japanese intellectual influences differed from the traditional Buddhist and Confucianist beliefs, and they introduced Western art such as paintings and literature.
I have to say, this Mona Lisa woman is quite beautiful.
Around the 1930s, changes made in Korea often stemmed from war preparation.
Let's get down to business to defeat the Allies.
The economy in Korea flourished with the help of Japan. However, virtually all companies were Japanese corporations, minimizing benefits for the Koreans. Money, money,
If you
money,
ain't talking money, I don't want to talk.
The Japanese attempted to assimilate Koreans into the Japanese culture and discouraged all Korean identity.
Alright, so all students will be taught in Japanese, all last names are going to be Japanese last names, and all Korean magazines and newspapers will be shut down.
I don't think this is very
If
fair.
you're going to complain, complain in Japanese.
Furthermore, Shinto shrines were built to encourage the belief in Shintoism, an ancient religion of Japan. In addition, many Japanese soldiers began exploiting Korean girls as comfort women or sex slaves.
In this way, the Japanese managed to make significant changes and start resistance throughout Korea. However, the Japanese did not maintain control over Korea for as long as they may have wanted to, for the end of World War II also brought an end to its colonization.
I don't even know how that happened. We had such a good grip on the place.
Japan surrendered to the Allies on August 15, 1945, marking the end of World War II and Korea's time under Japanese rule.
Freedom! At last!
However, without Japan as the government and support system, the Americans and Soviets struggled to take full control of Korea, resulting in two different governments in the northern and southern regions.
We have created the legitimate government of all Korea, the Republic of Korea and Seoul.
You might want to think again, because we've created the Democratic People's Republic in Pyongyang, and we're pretty sure that this is the new government of Korea.
Such disagreements caused the lack of unification, and fights began to occur between the people of northern and southern Korea. On June 25, 1950, northern Korean forces invaded the south. This Korean War drew in Americans in support of South Korea and the Chinese in support of the north. After 2 years of fighting, United Nations troops recaptured Seoul and eventually regained control of South Korea. By the end of the war, about
3 million Koreans,
1 million Chinese and 54,000 Americans
were killed. In July of 1953, UN forces in North Korea signed a ceasefire agreement and set the border between North and South Korea as the 38th parallel.
This border is nearly identical to the one that had been set before the start of the Korean War, and therefore post-war developments were minimal.
The long turmoil within Korea was beginning to die down at last. The Japanese occupation of Korea had many long-lasting effects on the area, such as those of industrialization and governmental reform.
Our economy was fueled by agricultural labor and trade, so most manufactured products were produced in a few larger cities.
But thanks to us, Korea is no longer an agricultural society. We revolutionized Korean infrastructure so that cement roads, electrical power, ports, and more became commodities nationwide. We also added many heavy-duty industries, such as those of steel, chemicals, and hydroelectric power. In fact, our government even led the creation of many successful companies and enterprises in Korea.
But most of that profit went to the Japanese.
It's the result that counts. Plus, we also introduced forms of mass media to your country. Korean dramas wouldn't exist today if it hadn't been for us.
In addition, after Korea finally regained its independence in 1960, its newly established government closely mirrored that of Japanese rule. In order to maintain control over the economy, Korean leaders established a strong federal bureaucracy that worked closely with the heads of national businesses. In addition, the new Korean government also emphasized literacy and education among its people. However, although Japan relinquished its hold on Korea in 1945, tensions between South Korea and Japan continue to this day. In 2012, the Korean government canceled the signing of the General Security of Military Information Agreement, which would share information about North Korean nuclear threats and other security issues with Japan.
We are signing the GSOMIA!
Nope, we're not signing to Japan. I'd rather save our pride before our lives.
Yeah, apparently the government wants to sign an agreement saying that we will all bow down to the Japanese. How humiliating!
In fact, although Seoul has similar agreements with over 24 other countries, the South Korean public opposed the GSOMIA so strongly that one of its proponents, the senior presidential secretary Kim Tae-hyung, even lost his job. Talk about serious opinions.
In the end, Japanese imperialism had both positive and negative effects, and it hugely impacted the way in which Korea continued to develop even after gaining independence.